On how Abacha family members are being treated, Sadiq claims that despite late President Musa Yar'Adua lifting the travel ban placed on their family, that he and other family members were still being harassed whenever they traveled in and out of the country. When Yahya Ahmed was secretary to the government of the Federation, he helped us but nothing has changed. I am always harassed whenever I am going out or coming into the country. I don't know where to go and be listened to. It should have been a security agency, but I was there. Nothing has changed. Even recently, before this lockdown, I was interrogated when I returned from Dubai, Sadiq said. Noting that stories of reports of hundreds of millions allegedly looted by their father disturbed them, Sadiq said, "We hear the report just as others used to hear it, but there are reasons why the money was kept. Definitely, I am not happy. On those the family relate with well," Sadiq said. Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So now guys, Nigerians are an ungrateful bunch. They really are, because rather than throwing abuse in the direction of the Abacha family, what the Nigerian nation and the Nigerian people should be throwing in the direction of the Abacha family are words of gratitude. Guys, I bring you this. Abacha's son says their father kept looted funds abroad for a reason. So of course he's safeguarding the Nigerian monies in his own personal account. This was Abacha's original intention. I am preempting what this guy has to say, but I doubt if it will deviate very much from that. So again, the headline: Abacha's son says their father kept looted funds abroad for a reason. So now let's now find out exactly what the reasons are. A son of late General Sani Abacha, Sadiq, has said that the funds traced to his father and kept outside the country were done for a reason. Sadiq stated this in an interview with BBC Hausa Service on Wednesday, but failed to state what those reasons were. He also said that of all his father's friends, they only relate well with family members of a former military leader, Ibrahim Babangida. He said they still had some relationship with the family of President Muhammadu Buhari. Abacha, a former Nigerian military leader, had continued to make headlines for bad reasons 22 years after his death, as billions of nairas in foreign currency allegedly looted by him were continuously being discovered and recovered by succeeding governments. His son Sadiq shared how Abacha family members feel about discoveries and recoveries of their father's loot, as well as their relationship with Nigerians, especially the late father's friends. On how Abacha family members are being treated, Sadiq claims that despite late President Musa Yar'Adua lifting the travel ban placed on their family, that he and other family members were still being harassed whenever they traveled in and out of the country. When Yahya Ahmed was secretary to the government of the Federation, he helped us but nothing has changed. I am always harassed whenever I am going out or coming into the country. I don't know where to go and be listened to. It should have been a security agency, but I was there. Nothing has changed. Even recently, before this lockdown, I was interrogated when I returned from Dubai, Sadiq said. Noting that stories of reports of hundreds of millions allegedly looted by their father disturbed them, Sadiq said, "We hear the report just as others used to hear it, but there are reasons why the money was kept. Definitely, I am not happy. On those the family relate with well," Sadiq said. "Our present relationship with some of our late father's friends is surprising. We exchange pleasantries with the family of General Babangida. We are in good terms. It is only with members of Babangida family that whenever we meet, we associate and share stories. We also relate well with the family members of President Muhammadu Buhari, but it is only with Babangida that we recall the past. So this is now poor me from the poor rich boy, rich at the expense, of course, of the Nigerian state, 200 million odd of us, according to their statistic. This guy is now telling us now that there was a reason why his father took all of this money and hid it abroad. So what we are now gleaning from this thing, because he's also saying that they are reading these things in this paper, in the newspapers too. So what we are now gleaning from these things is that even the Abacha family do not really know where all of these monies are stashed away. So all of these monies were moved, and this is a story, by the way, that recurs with pretty much all of them. They loot all of this money, they go and stash it away somewhere without any trail really to where the money is, and soon as they pass on, this will be the same story for Abacha. Of course, nobody will know where his money is, including his family. So they loot all of this money and go and stash it away in some abroad place because they've been bamboozled by some Oyinbo person or some Arab person, and they loot all of this money and go and stash it away. But then whenever anything happens to them, nobody, including their own family, know where these monies are kept. And with all of these international banking systems, there is a clause that allows money to lay fallow only for a set period before it is then consumed either by the bank or the state of that country, or shared between the both of them. So a lot of these monies have been looted. They've been fallow for a while. 22 years is a length of time, and it's usually 5-10 years, and then they'll just say, okay, nobody is claiming this money. They'll put a notice in their own newspaper to say this money is there anybody claiming it? And of course nobody can come forward to claim all these billions because it is stolen money. And then of course it becomes vested in the state of that country that the money is now parked in, that the money has been stored in after having been looted from the Nigerian state. So this is now the narrative again that this boy Sadiq is describing to us now, that they are reading in the papers just as everyone else about the loot that their father stole. So if the Nigerian government had not been able to trace some of these monies, and a lot of it they've not been able to trace, then what happens to that money is the question. Is the government or the bank in the international community where this money are being stored going to then say that, oh, this money is here and it's not being claimed, it's in the name of Abacha, Nigerian state have it? Of course they won't. They just consider you as idiots, so they just take the money anyway. They say it was stolen money, so we keep it. So this is really what happens within the Nigerian state. All of these people, by the way, all of these looters, they don't now steal to be rich and successful and to secure their families anymore. They steal because the opportunities are there to steal, and they want to steal more than the last guy. So Abacha, of course, he wanted to outdo Babangida, to say, okay, you stole $7-8 billion, I will steal $17 billion just to double you and more. And this is what he set out to do, and he did it, of course, in a crude way, just taking bullion vans to the central bank and taking the monies out and loading it on pallets on aeroplanes and flying it out, and all of this sort of nonsense. According to Galadima, this was the advice that Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi gave him, of all people. So this is the narrative now of the Nigerian state, and we're now hearing it from the horse's mouth. This guy is now telling us that his father looted, they stole, because we're using fancy words like loot, but we're actually talking about stealing, of course, that his father stole Nigeria's money for a reason. So the reason for stealing, of course, is something that he has to explain, because it's greed and avarice from our own understanding. But what his understanding is something that he has to, again, come out in the public space to explain, that Abacha is of this learning and of this high IQ, that it was then all of this combination that's led him to the point that he thought that it was best fit that the Nigerian funds should be in his own personal account, because of course this is what this boy is having you to have be the case. Conversations in the comment section. Abacha was doing you a favor, and that is the gospel according to his son. Come share thoughts, but before you do that, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. The bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come join me in the comment section to join me in saying thank you to the Abacha family for keeping the Nigerian funds in their personal account in the comment section. So I'll leave you here. Carry this conversation on with you in the comment section, but here I say peace.